Yeah, you can't be half in and half out.
Yeah.
If you're half in, it's gonna show, I think, in your business, and that's not specific to my line of work. It's anything. If you're not fully committed, it's gonna show.
Welcome to another Creative Spin podcast, and today my guest is Daniel Scire. Is that how you say your name?
That's how it's become.
Okay.
The actual way, like as it was said back in Italy, would be Scire, but
Scire.
it's been
That's a very different way of saying it.
Yeah, my grandfather always said that we're named after like a river in France. My
Okay.
grandfather was from Sicily. My
It does
grandmother
sound
was
French
from,
when you say Scire.
Yeah. My grandmother's from.
Does it have an
Calabria, so-
accent at the end?
It does. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has
So
the one that goes this way, whichever one that is.
it's the one that
Accent
goes that
I think.
way, guys.
I think accent vous, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the Canadian version has become Shire.
So your background, is it Italian or
Yeah.
is it French?
No,
Haha.
as far back as I know, it's Italian, but
Okay.
I mean, who knows? Because Sicily is like it's a port
True.
place, not city, but it's a port part of Italy. So it's a big melting pot. So who knows
Okay,
what
but
happened
you've
there.
always heard Shire.
Shire, yeah, from the time I was young. There was Skyer for a bit, but that I kind of adopted the way my dad and my uncle say it. So
Okay, no,
Yeah.
that's interesting. It's I know your dad and your uncle as well, and
Yeah.
and it was interesting when I first met them, and you know I was looking at the name in the business card. I'm like, oh, how do I pronounce this? Even today, I was like, I'm pretty sure they say Shire, but I wasn't
Yeah.
100%.
nobody ever, very very rarely has anybody ever got it right.
You know, it's like my last name too. Sometimes people are like, is it Iria? Is it in Portuguese? Is Iria?
Iria,
It's like,
yeah.
it's all of these things.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just I've been called so much,
Yeah.
so much stuff. So
Me too.
So many bad things too.
Sure.
That you know, if they get my last name wrong, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
I always say it's like where the hobbits live in Lord of the Rings. It's the Shire.
The Shire.
Right?
You know what? You're absolutely right. I didn't
That's
think
it.
about
Yeah.
that one. Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
So, Daniel, I brought you in.
Mm-hmm.
We've known each other for a while. I even know your dad, your uncle, and all this stuff. Because I thought that it would be interesting to speak to you about, you know, you're a young man and you're at the helm of an interesting business.
Yeah.
And the business being NoFrills. How long has it been now that you've
We're coming up on 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, August 29th.
But your adventure with the company has been going on for a while, right?
Yeah, I started with the company when I was 14, working for my dad part-time in the produce department.
That's been a while.
It's a long time. I'm going to be 32.
Wow.
32 at the end of August.
So it's I guess the entrepreneurship has always been in
You know
your
what? I'm getting old. I'm going to be 33.
33.
I'm at that age now where I forget
Listen.
how old I am.
Don't point at me saying you're getting old, Daniel, because if we're gonna go that route, look at my gray hair, man.
Look at my hairline.
Okay, we're all getting old here.
Yeah, that's it.
But like I was saying, like the entrepreneurship has definitely been in your family because your dad started quite a while ago too.
My dad started, I think he was 13 or something when he started working.
Wow.
I think he worked at like McDonald's or something like that first, and then he found his way into.
So
the
did he
blah, blah
start
companies,
more or less
yeah.
the same way that you started?
Yeah, just working part-time.
for the company.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And then slowly, you just get in there.
Yeah,
and
just working away, and you know, one thing leads to another.
But
Part-time leads
did
to
you
full-time,
think?
and-
Did you what the 14-year-old Daniel, when you were working along in the store, your dad's store, and all of that? Was it your dad's store?
It was my dad's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've noticed too that some of the kids of owners of stores tend to sometimes want to work in other stores too because
Yeah.
I don't know, having dad hovering over isn't
It's
like
different.
It's a different situation.
My
right?
dad put me in the produce department because that was the department he was furthest away from. He put me with Vito was a good friend of our family. Like he was a pallbearer at my grandfather's funeral. So Vito's somewhere in between employee and family. So he put me with Vito because he knew Vito would treat me just like anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no favoritisms here.
No, he gave me a kick in the pants when I needed it for sure.
Good.
For sure. I owe him a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you started there at 14. So looking back, did you ever think about owning or managing your own store?
I don't know if at 14 at the beginning I did.
Yeah.
But I think as things kind of progressed, it became more of a realer possibility.
You started
for sure.
seeing that as a possibility?
Yeah. Like I think I knew probably by the end of grade 12 that this was probably what I was going to do.
Okay.
And I went to university. I went to Guelph Humber I went for a semester.
Yeah.
I think I only lasted about, I made the decision I wasn't going to go probably like my 4th week in, and it was just past the point where you could get your money back.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I just got to tough out this semester. I watched a lot of Heroes that semester because I didn't really go to class that much, I'll be honest.
So you realized right away, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I tried it out, and it wasn't the idea of what I was sold a university would be because it was very small class sizes.
Yeah.
So we were always told, like, you'll go, nobody's going to monitor you. It's really, you do your own thing. If you want to learn, you learn. If you don't, you don't. Nobody cares if you go. First class I sat down, they took attendance. I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And then, I'm learning accounting. I really enjoyed marketing, actually. But I'm learning accounting. I go, I have no interest in this whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the other classes. But it just very quickly, I realized that I'm not the person who's going to sit in class and learn. I want to work.
You're more of a doer.
I want to do. Yeah. I want to earn my stripes by doing.
Yeah.
So that's.
And plus, I mean, you had all of those years beforehand where you were in the trenches. You knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
And because I guess you were already thinking about, this might be a possibility of managing a store. Mm-hmm. And I guess being at home with your dad, someone that it's hard to let go of work, leaving it at work. I'm pretty sure he's at home and he's talking about work a little bit here and there.
I mean,
whether it's
being at home and hearing him talk about it, or hearing my uncle talk about it, or it's even as simple as, riding in the car with him. And, I was a kid right around the time that probably maybe between 7 and 9, that's when you could start talking on the phone in the car on speaker.
Gotcha.
So I would hear these conversations, and this, it all just kind of seeps in there. Now, granted, when I left school to start working full time, having a store of my own seems so far away.
Yeah.
Is such a lofty
but
objective.
It's interesting how inadvertently, the messages that even if you are on your phone, but you're getting that feedback of business coming through your dad's phone, or what he's saying, or when your dad and your uncle are getting together and they're talking about this, talking about that. I always think about my kids as well, because I'm curious because they're young.
Sure.
I'm curious to see what happens when they get into their 20s. To see if any of the stuff that that I'm talking about at home with my wife about business and all that, if any of that kind of translates to their life, right? Yeah. Because in your case, it definitely did, right?
Definitely did. And I mean, my dad and my uncle are two people I always looked up to, right? So I think when you factor that into the whole mix of everything, and the business is a great business, and I truly do love it.
Yeah. It's a family business, isn't it? When you walk into your stores,
there's a lot.
You do feel like it's a family.
The operations team does give us a lot of leeway to make the business our own. Mm-hmm. We want a uniform look in all our stores for sure.
And you do.
You want to feel like you're in a NoFrills, but at the same time, you do get that feeling. And what I love most is that when I get to walk into the environment I create every day. Mm-hmm. So if I want an unpleasant environment, which I obviously don't, but if I want an unpleasant environment, I can create that. But if I want to walk into an environment where everybody's happy, everybody's enjoying what they're doing, the thing that makes me the most happy is I get a lot of compliments. Like, your staff are really friendly. Your staff are really happy. Like, I always see them smiling, and I feel like, and maybe it's not, but I feel like that is a reflection on me and the way I do things.
No, absolutely. It comes from the top.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say. Environments, they start from the top down.
Yeah.
So if you're a pleasant person, if you're a friendly person, if you're the type to work well in teams, that's going to reflect all the way down.
Yeah.
And you see that when, like you said, when you walk into a store, you feel that. And it's interesting, you know, I walk into your stores, not only like yours, your dad's, uncle, and I have that sense that, you know, the people working there, they're getting along, and they, you know, when a person just looks at the other person and just by looking, they know what they're talking about. Like, I get that feeling from you guys.
Yeah.
And that's essentially it's friendship, it's family, and that's good to see.
I like to give my staff a bit of a policy where, look, if you're frustrated, I'm your boss. So we should always, you know, we're going to respect the fact that I'm your boss and it's my business and all that stuff. But if you're frustrated, just tell me why you're frustrated. You don't have to edit yourself and pull any punches. Tell me why you're frustrated, because if you're completely open and completely honest with me, we can fix it that much further.
Yeah, and you're not bubbling it up, right? I think the biggest issue is when, and this is in life.
Sure.
If you're angry with anyone and you don't come out and say, listen, I didn't like the way you said this, or I didn't like the way you made me do this, or whatever. If you start just taking that all in, it's going to explode.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be 10 times worse.
Yeah.
So listen, people, this is a life advice. Just talk to people. Like, just say something. You know, don't let things bubble in, you know, because it doesn't. And at work, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
you have to be open to discussing things. That's my 2 cents on that. But I want to kind of go back a little bit in because one of my first questions that I had here is, what was the deciding factor, the thing that you said, you know what, I want to go ahead and I want to see if I can manage a store? Let's go back in time there, Daniel.
I think in the moment, if I put myself back into my freshly 19-year-old brain, I think it really is, I don't enjoy being in a classroom. I do enjoy when I'm at work. I enjoy and that's really where it started for me. It's the environment I worked in, I liked. So I said, let me go spend more time in an environment that I like. You know, 2 of my closest friends to this day, I met working in that produce department. And I mean, like, we're going away this weekend together, you know.
That's amazing.
I just saw them on Saturday. You know, we've been friends for, you know, almost 20 years. That's amazing. That's really what it was. I think it's just, I've always been the type of person who I can tough out a situation that I'm not happy with, but I'd rather pivot and go to a situation where I'm happier. So I had a place where I was happy. I could earn a living being there. And
so when somebody presented the option of, here, there's a store, you want to manage it, did you say, you didn't even think about it? It was like, okay.
Oh, it was a long time before we got there. But once the opportunity to do that came, I was no. There's a lot of backstory to that, but for that to be the opportunity.
Well, obviously, I'm guessing you have to work your way.
Yeah, you had to work. So, I mean, the conversation, if we're going to start way back then, it was, you know, sitting around the dinner table. Dad, I don't think I want to be in school anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get that.
How was Dad's reaction with that?
Oh, I got that stare, you know, like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? That's the thing with my dad. Like, it's always okay as long as you have a plan.
Yes.
If you're like, I'm not going to do this and I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know that it would have gone over so smooth. But for my dad, you know, I was, well, if there's an opportunity for me to work at the store, I'd like to do that full time. And there wasn't right away. So I worked as many hours as I could part-time, and I worked a second job with my dad, with my stepdad, my sister's father. just cold calling. He had a company selling drill bits, and I literally sat down, looked up all the places that use drill bits in Yellow Pages, and just cold called them.
Hustling.
That's it. I did that for not that long, maybe a couple of months before something opened up full time at the store, and
so full time in the produce department. And that was when you went into it. Now, what has been, I guess, looking at the beginning, what were the challenges you got that you weren't expecting, or surprises?
Along the road?
You don't need to get into details, but along the road. Yeah, some of the things that surprised you.
Managing people is, I like to think that I'm quite good at it now. But that's not an easy thing to learn, to deal with. I mean, because you can take the iron fist approach, where it's my way or the highway, or you can take the approach where, it's easier to catch, what's the saying? It's easier to catch flies with honey than with vinegar.
Exactly.
So you can get people on your side and make them want to work for you rather than forcing them to work for you.
And I think society's changed a lot. I mean, the whole iron fist approach, let's call it back in the day.
Sure.
I think that was the approach that people had in business. And it's like, I'm the boss, I tell you what to do, and that's it. I don't need opinions. I don't need any ideas. This is how it's going to be. Yeah. I think today's day and age, we've changed a lot. We've come a lot further than that approach, I think. And it works out better. I think having someone that is happy at work, they're just going to produce better, and you're going to be able to expand.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's
100%.
When I think about the iron fist approach, I think about that there was a scene on Mad Men where the secretary is sitting with Don Draper, and she goes, "But you never say thank you." And he goes, "That's what the money's for." That just doesn't work anymore.
No,
it just doesn't work anymore.
It hasn't aged well. Let's put it that way. It has not aged well. So with that, any strategies that you've come up yourself to get things working better?
The first thing I did when I walked into that store was I introduced myself to every single employee, and it took a while because, I mean, there's 100 of them and one of me. So when you walk in, but now it's much easier as people come into the business to just learn their names. It means a lot to people, I think, to just that their name. And every day when I walk in, I say hi to everybody, and I say hi to them by name. And I think that
it makes a huge difference. And at the same time, for me personally, it's my biggest fear. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
I'm so bad with names. And to everybody out there that I've just called Joe or Maria just out of default, I apologize. But it's something that since I was a little kid, you'll tell me your name, I'll go, "You what?" Gone. It's gone. So sorry, anybody that I can't remember their names, but it is what it is. But I am always trying to figure out little hacks to, my thing now is I'll meet someone and I'll put them on my phone, right? I'll make a note on my phone so that and then I have to say, oh, it's this guy that I know from this side, and I know this guy from, like, I have to make all of these weird connections so that I can remember their name. Yeah. But I'm trying, people. I'm trying. So let me just interrupt this conversation for 2 seconds to say thank you to the guys that have been supporting us here at the Creative Spin podcast. Café Brasiliano. This is the space we're at. So if you're in Toronto, or if you're visiting Toronto, now you know of a cool place to come and grab a nice coffee or sandwich. So make sure to come around, support these guys. You're supporting us at the same time. Thanks. Shifting a little bit now, we started talking when you got here. We were talking about technology because, when we were recording today, as we recorded this, Apple just came out with a whole bunch of things, and me being an Apple fan, obviously I was watching the video and trying to see the new tech that's out there, and there's some cool things that I'm not going to even start talking because I only saw like a couple of images so far. But we started talking about technology.
Sure.
And how much technology has gotten into our day-to-day and into our personal lives, into our businesses, into all of that. How has technology impacted you in a personal side? And especially now, I want to get your feedback from a business perspective, like in terms of softwares that you guys are using, even hardware, like all of this new tech that's come out. How much has it impacted, and has it been a positive or a negative?
I mean, it's unavoidable. So I think for businesses to succeed, you have no choice but to embrace it and try and utilize it to the best of your ability. I mean, even at the base level, you go back 30 years and people were walking down the aisles ordering every single item by hand.
The amount of time, my God,
it's crazy. Even our price tags are electronic in a lot of our stores now.
That's right. That's a great point. Actually.
In a store like mine, that saved me probably
that's 100
hours a week.
Oh Jesus!
Of labor hours it's not even like we pulled that out of the business. I just repurposed it into other places to service the customer better.
Yeah, because I can't even imagine all of the products you guys have, all of those aisles, going one by one product and having to switch the little piece of paper back in the day.
So they come out on a sheet of 6. The ones we're currently using, I believe, are a sheet of 6, and you rip them apart. They come out generally in the order that they're supposed to be in, but you rip them apart.
Generally. Yeah, I like that way.
But you rip them apart, and on a Thursday in a store my size, or a Wednesday night rather, in a store my size, you might have a stack that's about that tall.
So you still have to put some of those.
We don't, thankfully, because we have we really just have to do our signage around our displays.
Because now those little tags now. So does that affect your store only, or is that something that affects all the stores?
So those price changes get pushed down, and like if you're in there overnight, it's pretty cool because
you'll see it change.
They'll all just start flicking,
really,
and then poop, they all change.
So cool.
It's very, very.
I've always thought about it because obviously NoFrills has so many stores. Like at midnight, do all the prices just go on all of the stores?
Yeah. When I was working nights, you would see them. They would all just start blinking. Yeah, it's very cool.
But like, I have to say, I think that must have been one of the best changes when it comes to time, like cutting off time.
Absolutely, and just less frustration for the customer when they get to the, if we miss a label, they get to the front. It now scans at a different price. Like, we don't have a lot of those issues anymore.
Yeah, because I can imagine, like, even if you're putting, back in the day, if you were putting a piece of paper and for some weird reason you got distracted and now the shelf is products are right beside each other. You just flip them around.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
It would happen all the time.
That's crazy. So now when you're stocking things, that's when you have to be careful. You got to stock it right where the little...
And it's always, it's never going to not happen that things get filled in the wrong spot. But, I mean, generally speaking, like, the technology has definitely made our lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
Overall. It's technology. Things go wrong here and there. But what are you going to do? You roll with it, right?
But I think, going back to the time consumption, that's just insane just thinking about that.
And that's what it is with technology, right? It's there to save you time and make your life easier.
And you guys have also implemented the online shopping part of things. Yeah. I mean, you've had that for a while now.
Yeah, I didn't have the business when that was rolled out in my location, but I'm I think I'm within the top 5 or 8 in the banner for the amount of orders we put through every week.
So that also shifted the way that you guys operate in the store, because now you have... So walk me through this. I think it's interesting because, as a consumer, I place the order and I go pick it up. It's, I don't understand 100% how it's done. how does it work? You guys get the order, and then somebody actually has to physically go through the aisles and do the shopping for
So
me.
there are our aisles. They have our layout of where everything is. You know, it goes cereal and then hot cereal, and then in my store, for example, it's rice cakes, and then across from that, it's spreads, and then the little fruit cups. And so when that order comes in, the items are given in an order that person could just walk down the aisle and pick it all up. You scan it to make sure it's the right item, because you could have pear cups in water and pear cups in juice and pear cups in syrup, right? So you can get the wrong thing. So they scan the item, like the physical item, to make sure it's correct, and it helps make sure that the orders are accurate. And then
do they do one person at a time, one order at a time, or you're able to do multiple orders?
So the people that are a little bit newer to it,
you just give them one.
They'll do one at a time, right? But I have people that they do this every day or 3-4 times a week. You know, I have one employee in particular who I think she does 4 or 5 at a time. Like,
what a chef.
She's very good at what she does.
Yeah, because it's like anything, you got to get used to it. But
yeah.
So you guys walk through the aisles, pick up all the stuff, and then you have to put it into the boxes, or
we put it into the bags.
Bags, yeah.
Freezer stuff goes in the freezer. Refrigerated stuff goes in the fridge.
And that's when I receive my email saying it's ready.
Exactly, and then you come in. We make sure that we go through and we give you the bags to make sure you get the right stuff, because it's happened. People pick up the wrong bag, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So we make sure that you get the right stuff, and then you go along your way.
Have you seen an increase on the online shopping?
So I took the business at a very odd time, because I took it in August of 2021. So we were coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
So it's decreased a little bit since I took the business.
Okay. Because you feel like people still like going into the store?
I think people love the service. I don't think everybody maybe has the patience to go through and do their shopping on the, me personally, I like being in the store.
Yeah.
But also I'm probably not the right person to ask, because I own a store. So I like walking the aisles. I've always enjoyed that.
I think at home, it's like, if we have time, we'll go to the store.
Yeah.
If it's one of those weeks that we're jumping around with kids going this way, you know what I mean? We'll go online and we'll place the order, right?
Yeah. For me, it's difficult for me to walk the aisles and shop in my store, because hey, water's empty. Can you get some water? Hey, we need a sweep. Can you pick that up off the floor? So for me, it's not the most calming experience for me to shop my store.
Yeah, I notice it when we do our social media stuff and all that. We're going around, filming Daniel, and he'll like, oh, hold on here, oh, and he's like, you're always doing stuff.
By the end, my pockets are full of bits of cardboard, and you pick things up as you go.
No, it's great. Listen, it's the life of a business owner, right? You don't stop.
Yeah, no, you don't.
A lot of people, when they think about, I'm going to start my business, they only only want to look at the bright side, where it's, I can have my own schedule, I could do. Well, yeah, that schedule usually is a lot longer than you guys think.
There's a lot of, and you need to have a patient person at home and a supportive person at home, and I'm lucky I have that.
100%.
It's, sometimes
you need that support.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard on them. We're gonna be late for dinner tonight. I'm sorry. Something's come up.
How do you keep that work-life balance? Does it have to do a lot with your partner?
For sure. And it helps that my girlfriend came up in the business as well. Okay. She's worked in the stores, so she understands it from a different perspective as somebody.
Yeah, that helps so much.
It does. She understands when, we're going to go out for dinner and I have to be on the phone for a half an hour. Thankfully, within my business, I have people that are very capable, and it doesn't happen that often. But yeah, sometimes we're sitting down at a movie and I miss 25 minutes of the movie because I have to step out of the theater to take care of something. Or, even my friends, because they've known me for so long, they get it. Last 2 weekends ago, we were out for dinner and I standing in the corner on the phone trying to get the produce truck in there,
You have to do it.
It happens, because at the end of the day, it's about servicing the customer, and that person that comes in on a Sunday morning and wants to be able to have a barbecue Sunday afternoon, it's not fair to them to say, yeah, but I was enjoying my tacos last night, so I couldn't be on the phone.
Yeah. But from a mental point, is that switch always on and you're okay with that? Like, because I sometimes talk to business owners that they're always complaining about it. You know, they're, oh man, I can't go on holidays, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. And I feel like you need to really commit to it. And you have to tell yourself, listen, this is my life. This is the choice I've made. Are you there? Is that your choice?
Yeah, you can't be half in and half out.
Yeah.
If you're half in, it's going to show, I think, in your business. And that's not specific to my line of work. It's anything. If you're not fully committed, it's going to show. Mm-hmm. But also that goes back to what we were talking about before, having people that want to work for you. You know, I'm off this week. My staff knows I'm off this week. I checked in this morning. Everything was
well. The whole week off because of this podcast.
It's a very, very intensive process. No, I checked in this morning. Everything was fine. They know what I expect.
Yeah. But you still check in. That's the interesting thing.
Absolutely. Right? I know when I check in, 99 times out of 100, things are going to be okay. But that gives me the peace of mind as well.
Yeah.
And they know my phone's on. They know I'm in the country. It's not
even
like
if you're not, you have to be available.
My phone's on. Yeah. They can maybe not always get me by phone, but they can usually get me by text or email or whatever.
You have to be available always.
Always available. But they also know that, okay, he's off this week. I can handle this issue. I'm not going to call him for this.
For every little thing, yeah.
Because
that's where the responsibility has to come
in,
right?
For sure. And I think they feel a level of guilt in bothering me, you know, if I'm not there. But they also know I'd rather you bother me. I'd rather you call me than something
can't let the shit
bad happens,
sink,
right?
You got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Like, I have some friends that go, you never really go on holidays. You're always saying that you take your laptop. Well, I have to. You
have to.
I have clients that, you know, if something happens, I'm the guy on the top. I have to fix things.
Sure.
I always say that we're all like firefighters because we always have to put out all these fires. But it's the truth. It's you can't really, I'm going to take off for a week or two and that's it. Nobody's going to be able to communicate with me. Well, then shut down the business for those 2 weeks and then open it up when you come back. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And some people do that because they do want to have a 2 week off completely. And some businesses are different too.
Like, yeah, we're a brick and mortar business. We don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
But I'm
thinking with that. Like a restaurant. If you're a chef of a restaurant and you decide to go on holiday, unless you have a sous chef that is good at it, but other than that, you're probably gonna have to shut down the restaurant to go because.
But I think that's another business where, much like mine, you're driven by passion. So you're okay not disconnecting. I never feel better than. I'll say that a lot. I never feel better, but this is one of the situations where I'll never feel better than when I put out a fire, you so to speak.
Once the fire's out.
Yeah. Once the fire's out,
it's kind of stressful. It's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? But then it gets, it's okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've another owner put it perfectly. He said to me, he goes, this is the most exciting thing in the world. You know, I pick what I want to do every day. And I go home at the end of the day. I'm like, his exact words were, I put out 30 fires today. I helped out 3 employees. I did this, I did that. It was a good day. You feel like you've accomplished something. Yeah.
One of the questions I had here was about motivation and inspiration. Does it tie in with what you were just saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The motivation of keep going, keep doing better.
What I do doesn't only provide for me, it provides for everybody that helps provide for me. Like it's an ecosystem, right?
It's a huge responsibility.
It is. And it's a little daunting. It might be a little scary at times, but you have that employee that comes to you, they knock on your door and they say, can I have a minute? They say, this is going on in my life. I need your help. And I have the power to help them. Yeah. I have the power to better somebody's life. Like that's not something I take lightly.
Yeah.
It's
an amazing thing to be able to
do
that, right?
Sure.
But it's a huge responsibility at the
same
time.
It is. Absolutely.
It can get scary, people.
I think the key is to just don't overthink it. Don't think about it too much.
If you think too much about the responsibility, you're going to start freaking out. And then it's not going to work out too well. So, like, the other thing, aside from your employees and all of that, when you have a store in a location, you're part of a neighborhood, of a community, how much of an involvement do you feel you guys have as a store with your community, and how much of a responsibility do you have to take care of your community?
You have, I think, the biggest responsibility. I mean, what's more important to somebody than where their next meal's coming from? And it could be an organization that's coming to you because they need a donation for an event. They want you to participate in some sort of fundraising activity. It could be anything, but at the end of the day, it's all raising, oftentimes it's you're either helping somebody get their next meal, or you're helping a school raise money so they can do extra stuff for the kids. I mean, that's you have a responsibility to give back to your community, because again, much like it is with your employees, you get to help the people that help you. Your community is driving your business. They're the people that allow you to keep the lights on every day. So you have a responsibility to take care of them the same way they take care of you.
Yeah, and it goes both ways, because if you're helping your community, it just makes sense that the community is going to help back, right?
For sure.
They'll go shop at a place where they feel like, you know what, this guy, he helps us out. He tries his best to give a helping hand. This is the way I can pay back, and not pay back, but give back, is by going to the store and shopping there as well. It's a give and take situation, and it's not only with your business. I think it's with every business, and a lot of business owners, when they stop thinking that way, when they just get greedy, 'cause that's what it is.
It happens.
People start getting greedy, and they stop thinking about the giving part, and they just want to receive.
Yeah.
Usually, you see that business going down.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great parts about NoFrills. You get a store, you buy a business in a community where you're part of that community, and our pictures are at the front. People come in, they know. It's interesting when you can just be working away and, hey, Daniel, how are you?
Because you see the pictures, they're everywhere.
They're people that you don't know. You know their faces over time, but especially for me, because the business is still quite young, people say hi to me, and I've never seen them before sometimes.
Honestly,
sometimes I have. But
I think NoFrills did a really good job when they decided to do that and put your picture. And it's just not, the corporate picture. You guys have fun doing the...
I can only speak for myself. I did. I had fun when I made those pictures.
No, I see it on all the stores. Like, people had fun. They're like juggling things, like oranges and stuff. I don't know if you could do with eggs and... but I saw... You see the pictures, and you can tell... And it brings that human side to the store.
Yeah.
And you're essentially telling me that people come up to you and say hi. I feel like the reason why they do that is that they feel like you're a human being. Yeah. You're not just that, guy with a suit and tie, sitting. Right. I think that would be awkward. It would be like, oh, look, there's the owner, but I'm not going to talk to him. But no, there's this human side that happens. And I think the marketing is done very well in that sense.
The NoFrills marketing team is very, very good.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, they're very, very good, in my opinion. But I think it helps to make you want to shop at a place where it's not this faceless, behemoth. It's you feel like you're you're at a mom and pop, and in a lot of ways you are. You know, we're tied to a bigger company, which gives us the infrastructure to be able to service the customer with consistency. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a system of a supply chain system that helps us get products on a reliable basis, and you know, there's always hiccups, but
that's just the way the world is nowadays.
Yeah, but you really are shopping at a small mom and pop business in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you know, it's nice. You get to know the people that shop in your store. I know a lot of them by name. I know even more of them by face.
Well, they go there every week, right?
Yeah, that's it. Some of them multiple times a week. You know,
they're like me. They go multiple times a day because they forget something, and then the wife starts yelling, and then I have to go back.
Or you get the stores that are maybe under an apartment building, so people come down 3-4 times a day.
Right.
I need bread. Now I need milk. Now I need eggs. You know, so
exactly.
It's every store is different.
Yeah,
but
for sure,
each one is a community in its own way.
100%. I agree with that. So, just to finish this conversation off, what would be your advice to any young person out there that is, you know, helping out with putting the products in the shelves right now, but has that little bit of an ambition that one day, you know what, I'm doing this now, but one day I might actually think about managing a store, getting a store of my own. Like, what's your advice?
Take it one step at a time. Really assess how you feel every step of the way as you take on more responsibility. Because to do it in the biggest sense, to have your own franchise, you have to feel it and love it in your heart. And if you've been bit by that bug, it's a good business. And the business is, if you're good, as my dad always says, if you're good to the business will be good to you.
Those are some mighty wise words. Well, I think we need to have your dad here. We'll get your dad and your uncle here at the same time.
Oh, boy.
That would be a nice one.
Oh, boy.
Probably putting it out there. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're going to watch this, so I'm going to...
That would be, you might need to do a longer one for that.
Longer?
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. We don't, listen, we're on YouTube. It's we can go on for hours here. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Listen, Daniel, this was a great conversation. Thank you for accepting my invite.
Thank you for having me.
Come over. And yeah, let's, I think we're going to have to talk and see how we can get those guys in here.
I'll do what I can, but I make no promises.
Yeah, okay, all right.
They do what they want.
Everyone else out there, thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.